Friday the 15th, we made sail with the morning tide. I had been quarantined to a storeroom away from the other passengers and crew. All I want to do now is return home.
My dear Sixsmith, I am in desperate need of your help. I got hooked on a journal written in 1849 by a dying lawyer during a voyage from a Pacific isle to San Francisco. Half the book is missing. It's completely killing me. A half-finished book is, after all, a half-finished love affair.
What are you reading?
Old letters.
Why do you keep reading them?
I don't know. Just trying to understand why we keep making the same mistakes over and over.
Our lives and our choices, each encounter,
Louis Ray, Spyglass Magazine.
right, suggests a new potential direction.
That's it. The music from my dream.
I call it the Cloud Atlas Sextet. There are whole movements I wrote imagining us meeting again and again in different lives, in different ages.
What are you doing in here?
We cross and recross our old tracks like figure skaters. The love of my life, what had happened to her?
I can't explain it. But I knew when I opened that door.
I heard it in a dream. It was in a nightmarish cafe. Blaring bright lights. Underground and no way out. And the waitresses, they all had the same face.
Welcome to Papa Sounds.
No reason to hide. I know you, saw me. 451.
Yesterday, my life was headed in one direction. Today, it is headed in another. You ever think the universe was against you?
Where's our money? The law says.
Law! Fear, belief, love, phenomena that determine the course of our lives. These forces begin long before we are born and continue after we perish.
Our lives are not our own. We are bound to others, past and present. And by each crime and every kindness, we birth our future.
I have begun to fear I may never hold my beloved Tilda in my arms again.
The problem you create is a political one.
Yesterday, I believed I would never have done what I did today. I feel like something important has happened to me. Is this possible? I just met her, and yet I have fallen in love with Louisa Ray.
Saving me twice, Henry.
You fall, I'll catch you.
There is a natural order to this world, and those who try to upend it do not fare well.
I believe there is another world waiting for us, Sixsmith. A better world. And I'll be waiting for you there.
As you saw, a rather long trailer for a fabulous movie with such an intricate storyline, and you saw the cast. It's a star-studded cast. It's amazing, so it's definitely a movie to watch out for. On that note, we have to take a short commercial break, and we'll be back on Good Morning Sri Lanka on the other side. Welcome back. It's the last day of April. Tomorrow is a holiday and you are on Good Morning Sri Lanka, and we have lots of news for you from around the world. And to actually touch on what's happening with Sylvester Stallone and the musical Rocky. Now, Sylvester Stallone was well known for writing and for producing actually the Rocky series, and was such a famous and such a well-received movie. Also, apparently the musical is just as well-received and has been very, very well-received in the country where it was first put on stage. So just to tell you a little bit about the story, he has co-created this musical with Ukrainian boxers Vladimir and Vitaly Klitschko in 2011, and it opened in Hamburg in Germany last November, and the reviews were actually very positive. So Sylvester Stallone has decided to take this onto Broadway, and he's very excited, and he's hoping by hopefully apparently by 2014 it will be ready to go onto the stages of Broadway, and everybody will be able to see the musical Rocky as well, along with the movies. So that's the news from Sylvester Stallone. We also have an update to you from what's happening about the Boston bombing. Now, this is a story from the White House Situation Room briefing. These are some visuals of what's been happening in the Boston manhunt.
President Barack Obama was briefed by his top security and counter-terrorism advisors on developments in the Boston bombing manhunt and investigation for about an hour in the White House Situation Room on Friday, the White House said. The briefing ended just shortly after 10:45 a.m. The briefing included FBI Director Robert Mueller, National Security Advisor Tom Donilon, and White House Homeland Security Advisor Lisa Monaco. Joining by video conference was Secretary of State Johnny Kerry, Homeland Security Secretary Janet Napolitano, and CIA Director John Brennan, the White House said. This morning's briefing is a follow-up to the regular briefings that the President received through the night, as he was routinely updated on the investigation.
We have some more interesting news from around the world ready for you. Actually, this is something very interesting that's been happening with regard to Mars. Now, if any one of you was not interested in living on Earth and wanted to maybe change their residence and to change their address a little further up from, well, planet Earth, Mars might actually be a plausible destination, because a certain Dutch company is now calling for applications for anyone who is interested in taking up residence in Mars. Now, this might sound like a slightly strange story, but to give you the facts, actually, it's a Dutch company is aiming to make life a reality in Mars and are actually calling for applicants. It says Dutch company Mars One launches a search for volunteer astronauts to fly and live on Mars. Volunteers will not be able to return to Earth. Now, that is subclause. You have the fine print there saying if you want to live on Mars, yes, please apply to us. A, you have to be an astronaut, and B, you will not be returning to Earth. So on this note, we will take a look at the story and discuss that a little bit more on the other side.
Mars One began its search for volunteers to fly and live on the Red Planet on Monday. At a press conference in New York City, the company's CEO, Bas Lanscope, announced an open call for anyone to apply for the flight, knowing that they will never be able to return home. The mission will be one way only, since there currently is no technology that would enable a return trip from Mars to Earth.
Today, the Mars One Foundation starts the search for Mars inhabitants. The search for people from all nations who want to settle on Mars. Mars One is a not-for-profit organization that is working on landing the first crew on Mars in 2023 and another crew every 2 years after that.
The planned landscope explained is to send 4 astronauts to Mars in 2013 with the goal of establishing a permanent human colony. Takeoff, landing and various parts of the mission will be streamed on the internet and viewed by 4 billion people according to Landstor's estimate. Whether or not video transmission will be live or edited has yet to be determined. Anyone can apply for the mission, but there is an application fee of $38 that will go toward the estimated $6 billion required to fund the mission. Applicants must be between 80 to 40 years of age and in good physical condition. However, there are no other prerequisites. Mars One plans to train the team for 7 years before the flight. The flight will take 7 months to reach the Red Planet. RCB thinks it is an ethical idea to send people on a one-way journey to Mars. Landscope called the mission idealistic and something that can truly change the Earth.
I think it's an idealistic mission. This is something that can, in my opinion, truly change the Earth. If you remember what happened when the astronauts landed on the moon for the first time, it also changed the world. Imagine doing this not just as one nation, but as the entire world. I do think that it can change the world.
Departure is scheduled for 2023. The Netherlands-based non-profit plans to send new missions thereafter every 2 years, with the second crew joining in 2025. Each flight will carry 2 males and 2 females. But Landscope said Mars One is not requiring anyone to take fertility tests. Whether or not members of the team choose to reproduce will be up to them. The biggest challenge Landscope foresees is gathering and maintaining funding for the mission.
On the note of more scientific discoveries, scientists are developing a robot that can feel. Now, recognizing this pen and being able to touch this paper are considered intricately human tasks and considered extremely difficult for mechanics, not mechanics in the sense, for mechanical instruments to have accomplished. Now, this is something that robotics has been trying to grapple with for a very long time. Like touching this pen has been very, very difficult. But scientists have recently discovered that they are capable of making robotic hands that are capable of feeling. Now, to read out the story to you, Rodney Brooks, a well-known robotics scientist, likes to demonstrate the difficulty of the challenge for modern robots by reaching into his pocket and to find a particular coin. Now, he's doing this with his new discovery. A group of robotics scientists in the Department of Biomedical Engineering at the Georgia Institute of Technology in Atlanta, led by one of Brooks' former students, has developed a robot arm that moves and finds objects by touch. In a paper that was published this month in the International Journal of Robotics Research, the Georgia Tech Group described a robot arm that was able to reach into a cluttered environment and use the sense of touch along with computer vision to complete exacting tasks. Now, this is considered a landmark in science and technology, because they have created a robotic arm that can recognize things from touch, which was until now considered an intricately human task. Also, in terms of Hollywood, once again, Clint Eastwood has proclaimed that he would love to be directing movies even at the ripe old age of 105. Now, the actor right now is 82 years old, but as you would be able to see, he's fit as a fiddle and is actually hoping to continue directing for 2 more decades. So that's definitely a very inspiring story for all of us who are worried about aging, because if Clint Eastwood can age so gracefully and decide to direct movies even at the age of 105, why not let's give it a try as well. Now, we have a very interesting story for you from the sets of Funny Girl and Barbra Streisand ready for you.